bed, few little isolates down, where their parents hadn't gotten him registered within 30 days. And so they were having to fight with the insurance company to get coverage. Mine was a $500,000 stay, for my son. So I take this stuff very seriously, that you have coverage. So just remember, 30 days, that's the magic number with a qualifying event. Okay, I'm going to go on to the, and I don't want to forget either, is if you have a dependent child that is age 26, they can stay on the plan until the end of the month of when they turn 26. That's also federal law, but until age 26. I'm aware of people who their dependent child is married and the spouse is expecting, or they're expecting, and they're still on their parents' plan. So age 26 by law, they, under age 26, they can be on a spouse's plan. So just be aware of that. Your enrollment, the link information on page 6 tells you how to enroll in Ben Express, in that link that you can sign up. If you have issues, don't hesitate to let the business office know. They can work with you on making sure that you get signed up. So then let's go on to page 7. It says prescription drugs, but it's also, this is kind of a terminology, and I really like on this page, again, I'm high level, I like to talk preventive care. This is that time of year that I always think preventive care. I do it around my birthday, make sure I'm doing that annual, just making sure I take care of myself, and I hope you guys do the same because it's free. Preventive care is free. Flu shots, your COVID booster, you're the general health district, you probably know all this, but that is free. Your well screens for you or a child, that is free. If you do have a preventive care visit or a preventive care screening and something is found, it turns to be diagnostic at that point, okay? Then your benefit applies, deductible, co-insurance, out-of-pocket max. So just keep that in mind. Every year it seems I will have someone come to me and say, I just paid $60 for my flu shot. I'm like, why? That's free. So keep that in mind. If you feel like something should have been charged and adjudicated as preventive and it wasn't, call Medical Mutual and ask them. Say, could you just take a look at how this benefit was coded, or run it through the business office. If you don't feel like you're getting the remedy you need, run it through the business office and they'll share it with us and we can do some research as well. So that's part of our role, is to help you as well. All right, so I'm going to move on to the medical. You guys ready to dive in? All right, so pages 8, 9, and 10, we're going to talk about the medical plans, your health plans. I touch on prescription just lightly, but I mainly want to talk about your medical plans because I think that's, I can tell in your faces, that's where the changes are. That's where people want to know more about. So Medical Mutual, just so you know, Medical Mutual is primarily Ohio-based. Their network Ohio. That's part of why they have some really great rates. They've negotiated Medical Mutual of Ohio. Out of the state of Ohio, traditionally that network has been Aetna. 1/1/23, they're making a change that they haven't done in a long, long time. They're going to be contracting with Cigna. They're changing that network to Cigna. So everyone gets a new ID card. They're saying that you will get a new ID card by the 1st of the year. I'm going to just say, if by the 3rd week of January you haven't gotten your new ID card, please let the business office know. Excuse me. It's going to arrive in a white envelope, plain white envelope, so just be on the lookout for it. However, your existing ID card, your group number, your member ID, that still works. So you can still use that existing card. So if for some reason it doesn't arrive by January 1, your ID card will work if you need to use your benefits. Don't worry about that. Plus, you can also use the MMO app, and you can access your ID card through the app or online. I find a lot of people like to use the app. I know I do that for my benefits are with a different carrier. I use the app to access that as well. Okay, so that's page 8. Now let's dive into your plans. On page 9, your EPO plan. This is the only plan that's changing, and the only thing that's changing on it is the network. The most noticeable thing, as I mentioned, is that the Cleveland Clinic is not included in the Medflex network. However, I do recommend that you take a look at the Medflex network, go online, and you can go online, look up a provider. You'll need to click on the drop-down menu on the MMO screen when you're looking for a provider and choose MedFlex Network, and then type in your zip code and search to see if your providers are covered. If they're in the clinic, they are not covered. The other thing that we want to make sure that you're aware of is that this is a narrower network. Already this plan did not have benefits, it only is in-network benefits. I guess that's how I want to phrase it. It's only in-network benefits. So, and it's only this MedFlex network. So if you have a child going to school in Texas, if they don't have a provider or care in the MedFlex network in Texas, there's no coverage. You want to really be thoughtful about where that MedFlex network is. However, if it's a true emergency, and trust me, this morning I got tested on just about every emergency. Of course, it was fire and police that were asking me, what about if you have a stroke, if you, outside the MedFlex area, if you have, you're in a car accident, that's a true emergency. Even, and I look at it, they go by what is considered an emergency, the definition. It's what a reasonable person would consider an emergency, this reasonability clause. And such as, I use this, if you are experiencing chest pain, and you're like, I think I'm having a heart attack. You go in to the ER, you find out, it's just anxiety or indigestion. You thought you were having a heart attack. You reasonably thought you were having a heart attack. That needs to be coded and needs to be processed as an emergency claim. No surprises. So if you run into a situation it's not, let us know, and we can send it out to research with Medical Mutual as well. Because if a true emergency and what you consider to be reasonably true emergency, it would be processed as an in-network emergency event. That's the real difference, is this network. And I really encourage people, if you have providers that you work with now, go to the MedFlex network and do the research to see if those providers are in network or not. That really is going to be your determination, I think, for a lot of people if they want to stay in network or not.
Is the single out-of-pocket, those in the network, have those numbers changed, or have they always been that high?
It's always been that high. That there's no change. And how you get there is really by office visits, co-pays, because there is no deductible. So it's really just a lot of co-pays, office visit co-pays getting you there. It's rare people get there. That's part of why this has been such an attractive plan. But also, most of the risk is on the employer. And that's also, unfortunately, why that's probably where most of the people who've had some health events have been on this plan. So, any other questions before I go to the Lake Blue plan?
I didn't see those on last year's because I compared last year's with this year, and I see that on there unless they didn't list them like that. So out of pocket and that.
So I think the best way to look at all of these, again, this is just a high-level view we do of a summary. These are your summaries of benefits and coverages. The 2023 SBC, so you may hear an SBC. I haven't seen the 2023 SBCs yet, but they should be out soon because we've had sign-off. It's not changing. And that's really where you compare your plans to. That nothing has changed on those. I know that's one of my calls later this week with Medical Mutual is where is the 2023 documents, because I think we've had sign-off, so they should be producing those. But that's the same. That there is no change on that. Okay, any questions before I move to the Lake Blue?
Just for clarity, so let's say you're on vacation in another state.
Mm-hmm.
Sprain your ankle and need x-rays, or let's say you get food poisoning or something. Is that still considered an emergency if you go to the ER? Is that covered?
I think it would have to be let's say you're really you're having problems breathing, food poisoning out of the state, you're going to the ER for that reason. Well, emergency situation for, because it could be life-threatening, that would be considered a true emergency. I think what is considered a true emergency, that definition, sometimes that can be, you want to make sure, is this a life event? Is this something I could call First Stop Health for?